Imagine an ocean ruled by a single, undisputed sovereign. A predator so immense, so powerful, that its very presence shaped the marine world around it. This was the era of the Megalodon, a shark reaching up to 60 feet long, with teeth the size of a human hand. For millions of years, it patrolled the warm, shallow seas of the globe, a true apex predator at the pinnacle of the food chain. Its main prey: whales, giant, blubber-rich whales that provided the enormous caloric intake this leviathan needed to survive. The world was its buffet, and business was booming. But the world, as we know, is never static. Tides turn, climates shift, and even the mightiest rulers can find their kingdoms crumbling beneath them. The reign of the Megalodon was no exception. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the planet began to change. This is the story of how the king of the ocean lost its crown. It's a tale of freezing waters, disappearing food, and the rise of a new, cunning competitor. This is the extinction story of the Megalodon. The first blow came not from a rival, but from the planet itself. The Pliocene epoch, the Megalodon's golden age, was drawing to a close. A gradual, global cooling began. Ice caps at the poles started to expand, locking up vast quantities of water and causing sea levels to drop dramatically. For a creature like the Megalodon, which thrived in warm, coastal nursery areas, this was a catastrophe. These shallow, protected bays were crucial for the survival of their young. Pups, though formidable by any other standard, were vulnerable. These warm water sanctuaries provided safety from larger predators and an abundance of smaller fish to hunt. But as sea levels fell, these vital nurseries vanished. Coastlines retreated. Continental shelves became exposed, and the safe havens for the next generation of Megalodon were simply gone. Without a safe place to grow, the recruitment of new sharks into the population plummeted. The foundation of their dynasty was cracking. At the same time, the cooling oceans presented a direct problem for the adult While we can't be certain, it's believed that, like many modern sharks, Megalodon preferred warmer waters. As the global temperature dropped, their comfortable habitat began to shrink, concentrating them into ever smaller pockets of warmth. Their world was quite literally getting smaller, but the biggest challenge was yet to come, and it was tied directly to their dinner plate. The whales, the Megalodon's primary food source, had an evolutionary trick up their sleeve. As the waters cooled, these marine mammals adapted. They evolved larger bodies and thicker layers of blubber, which acted as incredible insulation against the cold. This adaptation opened up a new world for them. They could now migrate to the nutrient-rich, frigid waters of the newly forming polar regions. For the Megalodon, this was a disaster. Its prey was now seasonally disappearing. The slow, blubbery whales that had hunted for millions of years were now undertaking vast migrations to polar feeding grounds where a creature of the warm seas could not follow. Imagine being the king of the jungle, only to watch the entire jungle pack up and move to the Arctic for half the year. The once reliable, year-round buffet was now a seasonal special, and the Megalodon began to starve. With their primary food source becoming scarce, Megalodons were forced to hunt smaller prey. But this was a losing game. A 50-ton shark requires an immense amount of energy. Hunting smaller fish and seals simply couldn't provide the calories needed to sustain its colossal size. It was like trying to fuel a freight train with handfuls of grass. The energy expenditure of the hunt far outweighed the reward. The sharks grew weaker, more desperate. The stress on their population, already reeling from the loss of their nurseries, intensified. And it was in this moment of weakness, of vulnerability, that a new player entered the arena. A smaller, but infinitely more cunning predator. They were intelligent, they were organized, and they hunted in packs. We know them today as orcas, or killer whales. The ancestors of modern orcas were emerging, and they were perfectly adapted to the changing world. Unlike the solitary Megalodon, these early orcas were social hunters. They used teamwork and complex strategies to take down prey. Alone, weakened, Megalodon, already struggling with a changing environment, would have been a prime target for a coordinated pack of intelligent hunters, while a direct confrontation with a healthy, prime Megalodon might have been suicidal. A pack of orcas could have easily harassed, injured, and and eventually overcome a starving or juvenile one. Even more devastating was the competition for food. The remaining whales and larger marine life were now being pursued by two top predators. But the orcas were more versatile. They were faster, more agile, and their pack tactics made them incredibly efficient. They could outcompete the lumbering Megalodon for the dwindling resources. Every whale taken by an orca pack was a meal stolen from the jaws of a Megalodon. The king was being dethroned, not by a bigger monster, but by a smarter one. So let's paint the final picture. Imagine a lone, aging Megalodon. The warm waters it once knew are now chillingly cold. The shallow bays where it was born are now dry land. The great whales it once hunted with ease are now distant memories, having fled to the icy poles. It is hungry, it is weak, and its massive body is a constant, draining burden. In the distance, it spots a potential meal, a small whale, perhaps a mother and calf. But as it approaches, dark, sleek shapes emerge from the deep. A pack of early orcas, moving with silent, coordinated purpose. They encircle the whale, cutting off the Megalodon's path. They are the new masters of this ocean. For the Megalodon, there is no fight left. There is no alternative prey. There is nowhere left to go. This scene, repeated over and over across the globe, was the final act. The extinction of the Megalodon wasn't a single, dramatic event. It was a slow grinding process, a perfect storm of environmental change and biological competition. Global cooling, falling sea levels, the loss of nurseries, the migration of its primary prey, and the rise of a smarter, more adaptable competitor, all combined to push this magnificent creature over the edge. The king of the ocean didn't go out in a blaze of glory. It simply faded away, a victim of a world that no longer had a place for it. A powerful reminder that in the grand story of life on Earth, no reign, no matter how mighty, lasts forever. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the history of our planet. See you next time.